Hey, what's up everyone? This is just going to be a quick video about the creepiness of modern day technology. First, I'm going to tell you what happened. I get an email that says if your cat vomits, do this every day. And it shows right here, pretty much it looks like the exact type of treats that I give the indoor cat. But the indoor cat's not what vomited. Not the one that vomited. It's the one that's the two that are on the porch. One of them must have thrown up this morning because there was cat puke on the porch in front of the door. 2 spots of it. Now this right here is an email message from giving a presentation in a video about what to do if your cat vomits. Brought to you by catster.com. First of all, I never signed up to it. I wound up going to their service, and they must have gotten my email without me giving them consent, because I looked it up and I asked them and they stated, "We don't have your email." They don't have my email, so obviously they got it without me giving permission, which we know they do that. We know everywhere you go, the stores you go to, the places you go to, you're on camera, you're being watched, you're being monitored in the majority of places. There's very few places in public areas that don't have cameras. Some don't. There are areas that you can go and not be monitored 24/7. There are spots where there's not a camera always on you in stores, but most places there's always cameras here and there, and it's, goes to the cloud and all of that. But the CCTV cameras, and they have all the stuff that, the facial recognition that they have. But this goes deeper. This is different than just putting you in the cloud and monitoring you, whatever. I didn't say a word about the puke, the cat puke. I didn't say anything about it. But they seem to give me emails based on whatever's going on with my cats at the moment. And that's what is so crazy about this situation, is I had not given them any information about that. I walked outside at about, around right before 11 o'clock and noticed the cat puke this morning, before 11 o'clock. And then I find out, I get an email at 11 o'clock about what to do about cat puke. I didn't bring my phone with me. I didn't say anything about it. I haven't mentioned it, but I noticed it was there. So how would they have known that, unless it's quote-unquote coincidence, which I don't believe there are any of those, really? How would that have happened? Quite freaky. There's been a lot of instances like that. You'll bring up something, boom, there it is. We were out of something, I get an email for it. Of course, I usually keep the emails for, I'll keep all of the email receipts. I also keep everything we kept it for tax purposes until, in receipts in the cloud, until I found out this year it doesn't matter, because they're not going to give practically anything back. If I wasn't living here at home, they wouldn't have practically given my parents anything back this year. Because truck drivers don't get much at all back now. They're really socking it to the truck drivers, and I find that to be wrong. So we got a whole lot less back this year for taxes than what we're getting, a whole lot less back than what we have been getting. That's going to hurt. But anyway, back to this. I mean, they do know every little detail. They know every little thing. But I know they know your shopping habits, they know your whereabouts, your location, the whereabouts. They know your location, they know your, habits, they know all of this stuff, your preferences and likes and dislikes. They know when you're watching something and what you're watching at the time. And if you're not using private browser, the only reason why they can use they can use private browser if there's some kind of an issue in court or with court or something. They can pull it back up if there's some kind of major crime or something. I think that's the main reason why they could pull up bits and pieces of your private browsing, because of the it just doesn't leave a trail, but it stores it, I think, at the ISP in case, or the internet service provider, in case something stores if they need in some kind of a crime or court issue. But I think that's the main reason why they do that. But other than that, they know every little detail of everywhere you go and everything you do, and what movies you're watching, shows you're watching, music you're listening to, messages you, who you've called. I'll show you a little bit about that here in a moment. obviously you've been, and they see you when you are on cameras, and they store that in the cloud and link that information with your phone. But Google knows what you like, what you sound like, your political and religious beliefs, spiritual beliefs, and ideology, and or whatever you want to call it, and how healthy you are. The search giant also knows if you have children, if you don't, if you have a specific dietary restrictions. They know your location tracking and where you live and work and everywhere you've traveled in your entire time you've had Google. They said everyone stated they know the millions of searches you've done since you've had Google the very first moment. They know your entire YouTube history since you've actually started. Now, unless you've deleted your YouTube history and started over or something like that, someone was giving information about every little detail that Google knows about you, and it's monumentous. It feels like a 10-page document of what they stated they downloaded. There was 10 gigabytes of data they downloaded about themselves. In some cases, people have enough to fill one of those portable hard drives of data about you since 2008 that they had of searches that they did, and it filled an entire portable hard drive of information on them. Pages and pages of algorithms and data of where they'd been, anything you'd shopped for on Amazon, what you'd looked at, what you had searched, what you'd bought. Obviously, they know that, and for tracking purposes, your mail, what you get in the mailbox, and anything that is sent to you, or everything, every little detailed thing about your life is sent to Google because you give permission, and you have to, or you don't have a phone and you don't have internet, and that's just the way it is. But they have a lot of information about you. They're also creating artificial intelligent voices where they take a large group of people's voices and create a false voice. And they also are working on an algorithm right now. They are working on an artificial intelligent voice version of you. Taking all of it. By the way, I've noticed that I can't replay my voice in the cloud now. Used to when you asked Google to do something, you'd say, "Hey," or "Okay," and then Google, "Do so-and-so." Well, before, it would always store your voice in the cloud, and you could pull it back up and listen to your voice and whatever was going on around you at the time. But now, you don't have that. They do, but you don't, and you can't replay it. I'm sure they do, but you don't. But they've been storing our voices for so long, now they're working on an artificial you, where you can have your voice answer calls, but it's not you. Say whatever to whomever, and they can use your voice sounding exactly like you to call someone, make appointments, answer phone calls, pay bills, whatever, and sound exactly like you, but it's not you doing the talking. And that's kind of scary, actually quite frightening and freaky, because that's not really you, first of all, and it could be used for nefarious purposes. But they're working on an artificial you, a fake version of you, and you can soon use that to do all sorts of things. And this fake voice of yours, this voice that sounds identical to yours, and no one can distinguish the difference, and you can use it to call people and talk to people, and they'll think it's you, but it's not. But think of the ramifications of the nefarious purposes that could be used for such technology. Anyway, just also wondering, how did they know my cat puked this morning? Or was it a coincidence, which I don't think there are any anymore? But how'd they know the cat puked this morning on the front on the back porch step? How did they know that? And a few minutes later send an email about it when I hadn't mentioned it, and I didn't have my phone on me at the time. The phone was in the house, and it was actually off and charging. All the devices were, the tablet and the phone were both off and charging. So, give your thoughts. Peace, much love. I love you all. Bye.